What's happening here is actual caulking taking place. This is traditional caulking, not the sort of caulking you see on a modern yacht's teak deck where you pour a bit of rubber in and hope it's going to stick. This is the real thing. Every single whack of the hammer on the caulking iron is driving strength into this ship. It's an old technique, and the man who's applying it here is Chris, who is working in Middlefart at the little shipyard in the old dock. It's a great skill to do this, to know how hard to hit that hammer and how hard to drive it in. For those people who don't know, the way the seam is made between the planks are tight at the bottom, or they should be touching each other at the bottom. But if they were touching each other all the way up, that's never going to keep the water out, because that's just the way of it. Life is not that perfect. So what the shipwrights do, they cut a V into the top of the seam, and into that V is driven this oakum, which is teased out rope yarn with a bit of Stockholm tar in it. That's driven in hard like this, and it just pounds the strength in. That on its own will keep the water out once it's done properly. But usually after that it's finished off with a layer of pitch, which is poured in hot. We're not going to see that happening today, but what we're watching is Chris driving this in. He makes it look so easy, but believe you me, it's not. I've caulked the deck of my old pilot cutter myself. 50 feet of deck, nearly killed me, and it took me ages, but a man like Chris would knock it off in no time at all. It's just a pleasure to watch him working. So that is caulking. A wooden boat was held together like this, really. The water was kept out. The bottom of the boat is waterproofed in the same way, and it's one thing to drive the hammer downwards into the deck, but it's another altogether to drive it upwards into the bottom of the boat. That is a killer of a job. It's a real man's job, that is, and I've seen women doing it too, and they're more men than I am. It's a serious business. So there we are. You might have learned something today about caulking and about the way wooden boats are held together. It's years, it's probably 20 years since I've done this, and I was watching Chris earlier on today and he handed me the iron. I made a bit of a beast of it, but you know, it's something that you never forget really once you've done it. But the thing is, it's not only what you're seeing, it's what you're hearing. When you've got it right, that hammer rings in a certain way, and you know the job is a good one. So we'll leave him to it now. Thanks, Chris. A real pleasure.
Thank you.
Chris has just put me straight about caulking the bottom of the boat, and it tells you all you need to know about me, really. Typical sailor doing a skilled man's job. When I used to caulk underneath the boat, I used to find it brutally hard work, swinging the hammer upwards. But Chris has just explained to me that if you've got the sort of skills he's got, it's actually easier because of the way the muscles of your arm are made and the way you're operating. And this is a critical thing, because you see, it's one thing to have a set of caulking irons and a hammer like I have and to give it my best shot. You get a result after a fashion, but it's another thing altogether to have done it all your life and to be skilled and to really know how to do it. And it's critical that these skills are kept alive. They're dying out. The number of people like Chris who are still young men who know how to do it are fewer and fewer. Wherever you go, it's the same the whole world over. We must keep the skills alive so that anybody who's putting out an effort to make a boat building school or anything of that nature should have our full support.